Good afternoon, everyone. I would like to call the County Renfrew Operations Committee meeting for October 15th, 2024 to order. As we gather today, we acknowledge on behalf of the County Renfrew and our community that we are meeting on the traditional territory of the Omama Winini Algonquin people. We thank the Omama Winini people and express our respect and support for their rich history, and we are extremely grateful for their many and continued displays of friendship. We also thank all the generations of Indigenous peoples who have taken care of this land for thousands of years. And moving on from there, has roll call been taken, Evelyn?
Yes, thank you, Chair, and we have quorum.
Thank you. And then I shall find my place. Is there any disclosure of pecuniary interest and the general nature thereof in any matters before us this afternoon? Seeing none, we will move on to item number 5, the minutes from our meeting of September 9, 2024. The recommendation is that the minutes of September 9, 2024 meeting be approved. Can I have a mover and a seconder, please? Moved by the member from Arnprior, seconded by the member from Laurentian Valley. Comments, questions? Member from Arnprior.
Thank you, Chair. Just a question to Taylor. One of the requests under new business was to take a look at River Road again. Just curious if you give a report, please.
Mr. Hanrath.
Thank you, Chair. Through you to the councillor from the town of Renfrew. Yes, I did visit the driveway in question last week. The grade on the driveway is 10 to 12% in range, so I'll be following up with the property owners to let them know that no further action is required, as it meets our standard procedure on other projects as well.
Okay. Anything further on the minutes of September 9th? Seeing none, all those in favor? And that is carried. We'll move on. There's no delegations listed. Public Works and Engineering Department report and the Director's report, and I think we have Mr. Perkins online with us.
Yes, thank you, Chair. And if I may request, I just got to go off the agenda a little bit. We have some team changes, if that will be okay with you.
Sure.
Okay, pleased to announce that Mr. Boldu, our manager of Public Works, has retired. He's taken some personal time away, and he will be retired soon. Right now, the position is going to be left open for a little while till we figure out what we need to do. Thankfully, Mr. Hanrath and myself are looking after that division right now, so I'll deliver the operations report earlier. Also, another couple of changes in our team. Justin Schauer, who was our civil design engineer, he's going to move on to a position with the bus consortium. It's a loss to us, to our team for sure, but an excellent opportunity for Justin, and we certainly wish him the best. Also, Melissa Taranjo, she was our admin assistant 2 in the Public Works group, operations group. She took a position with the EMS, and we are all confident that she's going to do quite well there. Leaves a big hole in our group, as does Rick's leaving, leaves a huge hole in our group. So we're going to be looking for some talented, bright people. We do have internal staff that are opportunities maybe there for them. So, but we are looking around for some new people. So, with that, I'll move on to my report, Chair.
Please do.
And thank you. And through you to committee. Item 1 on my report is the monthly project status report, and again, that's attached for your review. And more detailed information will come in the divisional reports. Capital variance is attached again for your review. Item 3 is the Ontario Transit Investment Funding Opportunity. So the province is investing $5 million annually to help smaller communities build safe and reliable transit services through the new Ontario Transit Investment Fund. So all municipalities can apply for this funding on an ongoing basis, with programs expected to begin in 2025. Staff will explore potential shovel-ready projects that may be considered for this funding. Item 4 is the town of Laurentian Valley and the city of Pembroke are in the process of completing a transportation master plan. So myself and the manager of Capital Works, Mr. Hanrath, were invited to a meeting on September 15th at Laurentian Township, or Laurentian Valley Township, where Paradigm Transportation Solutions overviewed the new transportation master plan for both the city and the township. We've attached it for your information. But if committee desires, when we go into questions, if they desire to have the actual paradigm consultant come, they've offered to come and do a presentation, in-depth presentation for us. Item 5 is the American Public Works Association PWX 2024. So this year I was fortunate enough, thanks to the support of the County of Renfrew, to go to Atlanta, Georgia and attend the PWX, which is the largest public works conference in North America. Over 6,000 delegates are there. I did attach a summary of events that I attended and things I did. One of the things that did come from this was I was appointed to the Canadian Public Works Association president. So it's one of the reasons I'm out here in Vancouver this week doing some presidential things with the Canadian Public Works Association. So I'll leave it there for questions, sir.
Thank you for that. We will go back to item number 1, the monthly project status report. You can see there's a lot going on. The capital, item number 2, the capital program variance report. Item number 3, the Ontario Transit Investment Funding Opportunity. And following up on that with the item number 4, the Township of Laurentian Valley and City of Pembroke's Transportation Master Plan. And item number 5, the American Public Works Association PWX 2024. Seeing none, we'll move on to resolutions.
Thank you, Chair, and I'll read the recommendation to get it on the floor, and then I'll give you the background. The recommendation here for a dual-purpose transit solution is that the Operations Committee directs staff to explore the options of a dual-purpose transit solution, including convening a meeting amongst all local and regional suppliers of transit options, and that staff be directed to contact the appropriate ministries to determine funding that may be available, and that a transit solution ad hoc committee be developed with the appropriate terms and reference.
Thank you for that. Can I have a mover and seconder for the recommendation? Moved by Ward Nemo, seconded by the member from McNabb-Braeside. Mr. Perkins.
Yes, thank you, Chair, and I'll read the background here. Renfrew County, like many rural regions of Ontario, face significant challenges, as we know, in providing efficient, affordable, and accessible public transit for its residents. Obviously, the current school bus funding dispute was in play when we wrote this report, but between school boards and bus drivers, presently, there may be an opportunity for the County of Renfrew to explore a creative solution. So my team and I would like the opportunity to look at possible working solutions with the local bus consortium and bus operators in a coordinated approach to the operation of school busing and utilizing them as a dual-purpose system for consideration as an opportunity. When not transporting students, the buses could potentially be used for public transportation services, which, as we know, is a critical gap in our rural regional transit system. So if supported, staff will return with a much more comprehensive report to committee.
Thank you for that. Comments, questions? Member from McNabb-Braeside.
Thank you, Chair. I'm very much in support of this recommendation. I imagine this has been a topic discussed at the county level over the decades, but as I've been on this council for the last 2 years, I think it's very timely to have another serious look at this. Providing some sort of transit system around the county. In terms of economic development, I think it's critical. There's a lot of workers available who don't have a way of getting to work, to various businesses across the region. So this would be very helpful there. Also, if you look at the efforts of the very large project we're taking on with Mesa, combining the activities of certain communities to address some growing social concerns and needs that a lot of these people that are struggling. It's in part due to the lack of transportation, that they just can't get around to meet their needs. And I think if there was any kind of transportation system, it would have a very big effect on the social fabric, and as well as the economic fabric. It's a very big, lofty goal, and I commend staff for bringing this to our attention at this time, because it will take many steps to make it a reality, but I think this is a very practical first step to make these initial investigations to see if the next level should be pursued.
Thank you for that. Warden Nemo.
Thank you. I think this is great. And just to add to the excellent comments of my colleague, I think even of more concern is the need for some kind of a transportation network for some of our residents to get to school appointments for their children, medical appointments, because in a lot of instances there's only one vehicle. And that really limits the ability of people to be involved in their own care and their own health, but as well as the extended family members and their children. So yeah, will this also be looking at Sunshine Coach, Care For, and then some of the home support organizations have their own vehicles, and then there's also the volunteer drivers for Cancer, March of Dimes, and I'm not sure how many others. So I think it's, I'm wondering if there's an opportunity to put this all together and have a very varied system, but one that knows about each of the components. Because right now, each one of these organizations operates in a vacuum. So I've often thought that all the resources combined could probably offer a pretty good service if we all knew about it and could coordinate it. And I would remind, we had the system for the Winter Games, and there's better systems than that. That was a terrible system, where you could book your job. And as a volunteer, I could book different shifts. And so, there has to be some kind of a system like that, to coordinate volunteer drivers and some of the home support and other services who I don't know of that have vehicles. So I hope it's a bigger look, and I think we can stitch together quite a program, but it's going to take some work. Thank you.
Yeah, I think that's good points, and trying to bring all of those things together. We're seeing, smaller pockets working on their own solution right now, whereas I think that going at it this way and involving the lower tiers, we're going to get all of those, small local systems that are up and running and try to see if we couldn't put them together for sure. Member from Empire.
Thank you, Chair. A number of years ago, excuse me, our economic development people had the Shark ride program that never got off the ground because of COVID. So maybe we got information within that program that could be useful.
We did have Ride Shark here last week to provide some more information. I wasn't able to attend, but I'm led to believe that it didn't go so well. But perhaps Warden Nemo has some more.
Yes, thank you. We met with them on the 30th, which was Truth and Reconciliation Day, and they have their program developed where, in theory, and I'm not sure if it was a problem with connectivity or whatever happened, but so they can track their ride. You can request it. They can track your ride, who picked you up, where they took you, how long they were in service, when they're free, and then also use that to springboard to is the driver available for something else in that area. So it looked pretty advanced, and then they had a screen where they could show us, the progress of the person, and then their reports coming back in. They also, at the end of the month, could total up how many hours or how many kilometers. So there was it looks like it's on its way to being a usable system. And again, it may end up being part of this solution as well. But I think, again, we'd have to have a good conversation with them about their capacity. And we made some suggestions about what they could do differently and what they could add to it. And I think they took those away. I don't know if they took those away to implement or tinker, or if they took those away and put them in a file to say, yeah, we'll do it down the road. So we still have to have more conversations with them. It looks interesting, and they have really neat pens and sharks. So.
Yeah, but anyway, as I said, with the approach that staff is recommending here with involving all the lower tiers, I think all these ideas will come out, and hopefully we can get something that's that's some kind of a hybrid transportation system across Renfrew County. Member from McNabb-Braeside.
Thank you, Chair. I just have a question of information. Does item 6 have anything to do with item 3? Is that funding available in OTIF?
Absolutely, it could be.
It is, okay.
Yeah, for sure.
All right, thank you.
There's most of the funding available is for capital, upfront capital, like purchasing vehicles and things like that, but I believe there may be some operating funds available also, so, yeah. Anything else on items, where were we, 6? Seeing none, all those in favor, and that is carried. Move on to item number 7.
Yes, and thank you, committee, for that. It's an exciting opportunity for sure. Item 7 is the establishment of the Ontario Rural Road Safety Program. So this is very long, but I'll read it to you. Recommendation here is that the Operations Committee recommends that County Council endorse the resolution initiated by the Good Roads for the establishment of an Ontario Rural Road Safety Program as follows. Whereas official statistics from the Government of Ontario confirm that rural roads are inherently more dangerous than other roads, and whereas, despite only having 17% of the population, 55% of the road fatalities occur on rural roads. And whereas rural, northern, and remote municipalities are fiscally restrained by maintaining extensive road networks on a smaller tax base, and whereas preventing crashes reduces the burden on Ontario's already strained rural health care system, and whereas roadway collisions and associated lawsuits are significant factors in runaway municipal insurance premiums, preventing crashes can have a significant impact in improving municipal risk profiles. Therefore, be it resolved that the County of Renfrew requests that the Government of Ontario take action to implement the Rural Road Safety Program that Good Roads has committed to lead. It will allow Ontario's rural municipalities to make the critical investments needed to reduce the high number of people being killed and seriously injured on Ontario rural roads. And further that, a copy of this resolution be forwarded to Premier Doug Ford, Honourable Preet Sarkaria, Minister of Transportation, Honourable Kinga Sermon, Minister of Infrastructure, Honourable Rod Flack, Minister of Agriculture, Food and Agribusiness, Honourable Lisa Thompson, Minister of Rural Affairs, Honourable Trevor Jones, Associate Minister of Emergency Preparedness and Response, and the Honourable Sylvia Jones, Minister of Health and Good Roads. And further, that this resolution be circulated to all municipalities in Ontario requesting their support.
Well, thank you for that. Can I have a mover and seconder? Moved by the member from Laurentian Valley, seconded by the member from Arnprior. And the background where this came from?
Yes, thank you, Chair. The background is much shorter than the resolution. So the request obviously came from the Ontario Good Roads Association, and they're requesting council support for the establishment of the Rural Road Safety Program. This resolution does align with Resolution OPCC 240325, passed at County Council on March 27, 2024. And it also, at that point, we supported the municipal operator course at Feng Shui College and initiated by the Ontario Roads Association.
Okay, thank you for that. Comments or questions? Member from McNabb-Braeside.
Thank you, Chair. Again, I'm very much in support of this. Rural road safety is a very big issue in our township. We thank the warden for sending a letter out to all the lower tiers, informing them about the little window there with the community safety zones for implementing automated speed systems. So we'll be addressing that at our council tonight. But that's a start. But you know, there's a lot that needs to be done. Certainly, the question of enforcement is constantly on everybody's lips. Our OPP bill has gone up, and we're not sure that the service for there is going up as well too. I mean, they do a lot of different things. So, you know, we're addressing that at council as well tonight as well too. But it doesn't seem like the prospects of on more resources from the OPP for enforcement are in any time in the near horizon. So I'm very pleased to see the Good Roads Association take some leadership on this, because certainly good roads are safe roads, and obviously they've heard from a lot of municipalities from around the province with the same issue. So anything that they can do along these lines will be greatly appreciated, certainly from our residents, and I'm sure many others.
Okay, well, with a positive vote, we'll put our support forward for that. Anything further? Member from Laurentian Valley.
Thank you, Chair. And through you, is there any additional information as to how this would work? Is it just a volunteer basis for people to participate in this? Is it any additional information on that?
I think there's something on AMO's website. Warden Emo.
Yes, I'm only going from, excuse me, I'm only going from memory. What they would do is you would ask for them to undertake an inventory or an audit of your road system, and they would provide the funding for that, and then there would be a plan developed to improve the selected roads. And again, I believe they're looking at funding if they get the two pots, one for the audit and then the one for the for some kind of a repair. So they have used and they're developing a system so there's a standardized measurement, and it has been used in Europe and in some U.S. states. So there is an existing system, and Mr. Perkins must know more than I do.
Mr. Perkins.
Yes, thank you, Chair. Thank you, Warden. Yes, it is exactly what you said. Is the Ontario Good Roads Association I'll akin it to the Federation of Canadian Municipalities, the FCM. They're going to do something similar to an LOS program where they will be the guardian of this operation. Provincial monies will flow through them, and they will do an in-depth study of your road system, prescribe potential solutions, and then, as the Warden alluded to, hopefully OGRA would be the deciding factor how the money gets distributed. But if nothing else, at least you'd have a much better package to forward to the provincial government for potential funding opportunities.
Thank you. Supplementary? Okay. Anything further? Seeing none, I'll call the question. All those in favor? And that is carried.
Thank you, Chair. That concludes my part of the report.
Okay. Just off the agenda, just back to where Mr. Perkins started, I think it's would be the committee's intent to wish Justin, Melissa, and Richard all the best in whatever they do moving forward. So we will move on to I was going to say Capital Works Division report, and Mr. Hanrath.
Thank you, Chair. Through you to committee. Good afternoon, everyone. I present the Capital Works Division report. Item number 1 is an information item. 2025 capital program planning. Included for reference is the list of transportation infrastructure capital projects planned for 2025 in the county's asset management plan. Though the capital program is in general would see benefits, there are a number of projects highlighted below that would especially benefit from approval of capital budget ahead of the typical January timeline. As such, the following items are being put forward for discussion as part of the special council meeting planned for October 28th, 2024. County Road 2, Daniel Street North from Madawaska Street to County Road 10, Baskin Drive West would benefit from preliminary approval because there is more significant design required due to the recommendations from the draft transportation master plan for a median to be implemented at one of the intersections. County Road 3, Usborne Street from County Road 1, River Road to the urban limits of Braeside. Given the urban cross-section of this section of road, more time to review storm sewer and curb needs ahead of design would be beneficial. County Road 36, TV Tower Road from County Road 35, Jean Avenue to County Road 42, Forest Lee Road, and County Road 51, Pembroke Street West from City of Pembroke limits to County Road 42, Forest Lee Road. There's an extensive drainage improvement needed on these sections of road, and each one connects to the other. So allowing more time for design would, with the pre-approval of the budget, would be beneficial. The pre-approval of the budget would be beneficial. County structure B053 Constant Creek Bridge on Ferguson Lake Road, approximately 5.3 kilometers north of County Road 508, Calabogie Road. This design assignment was already approved for award in 2024, but the services extend into 2025. County structure B145 Cumbermere Bridge on County Road 62, Cumbermere Road, approximately 0.5 kilometers south of County Road 515, Palmer Road. This bridge project is very substantial. There's a lot of steel works required for the project, and as committee may know, the lead time on ordering steel elements can be quite great. So having approval to proceed as part of the budget would allow us to tender this project and have it awarded sooner so that contractors can meet the deadlines for the construction project and have all their materials available to commence construction as soon as possible. County structure B188 Turcotte Bridge on Code Road, approximately 2.2 kilometers northeast of Mixburg Road. This structure is anticipated for full replacement, and having approval to proceed with a request for proposal as soon as possible would allow for design to be completed and budget estimates to be completed before September of 2025 so that we can have a firm budget number to go ahead with reconstruction in 2026. And finally, County Structure C201, Brooms Creek Culvert on County Road 7, Foresters Falls Road, approximately 0.1 kilometers east of the hamlet of Foresters Falls. As committee may recall, this is a structure replacement as well as a dam reconstruction. This is a very substantial project for our department, and having as much lead time as possible ahead of the construction commencing for the actual award of the project would be beneficial. We could see better unit rates, as well as allowing the contractors to have more lead time for those structural elements that have to be manufactured or ordered ahead of time. Item number 2, Chair, is delegated award of a project, PWC 2024-17, supply, delivery, and placement of granulars on Algonquin Trail from Wiley Road to Ashport Road to McRae Excavating Limited in the amount of $549,850 plus applicable taxes. And I'll pause there, Chair, to see if there's any questions about the information items.
Okay, thank you for that. We'll move back to item number 1, the capital program planning for the 2025 year. Comments or questions? Okay, I was going to say something. Member from Arbour.
Thank you, Chair. I'm just curious if our engineering design person is going to be involved with any of the culverts and specifically the one County Road 36. Thank you.
Mr. Hanrath.
Thank you, Chair. Through you to the councillor from the town of Arnprior. So the civil designer position primarily focuses on structures. They do to support road designs where and when needed, but for the most part, our engineering technicians, overseen by our supervisor of technical services, Mike Beam, would undertake the design for these road sections.
Okay. And something to keep in mind that these projects are all are all included in our asset management plan. So we do have those figures, and we would certainly get another chance to have a look at them if the tenders came in. If the planning for this moved forward and the tenders went out and came back, if they were over budget, we would have another shot at these anyway. So, anything further on item 1? Item number 2. Resolutions. Resolutions.
Thank you, Chair. Through you, item number 3 is recreational trail development, and the recommendation is that the Operations Committee recommends the County Council incorporate the development of recreational trails into the capital asset management plan going forward, and that the annual capital budget be developed based on an approved asset management plan for recreational trails.
Can I get a mover and seconder for the recommendation? Moved by the member from Arnprior, seconded by the member from McNabb-Braeside. And the details, please.
Thank you, Chair. Through you to committee. The background here is quite extensive, but I'll attempt to summarize. So as committee may know, the trails development thus far has operated using to this point, a number of different grant opportunities, as well as what's known as the Accelerated Work Plan or Accelerated Trail Development approval, whereby was $4 million approved for the trails that would be paid back to the county using surpluses each year. Those funds, plus the active grants that we have available to us, are anticipated to reach Bissett Creek by the end of next year. As it stands currently, we're anticipating by the end of this year, we'll have a stone-dusted trail all the way from our border at town of Arnprior to Deep River, and from Deep River to Yates Road, we'll have a granular or granular A trail. At this time, we're evaluating whether a stone dust trail should be anticipated over that granular material, or if it's sufficient to move forward for cycling. However, regardless of which way we go, we have enough to get to Bissett Creek at this stage. And going forward, we would like to recommend looking at a asset management plan similar to what we use for our roads, bridges, and culverts, so that we can anticipate funds going forward and approve budgets. Or there are other options that we've looked at as well, and presented lower down in the section. So option A is the recommended option, which was approve the draft recreational trails asset management plan, recreational trail segments into the asset management plan when transfers occur. Or option B was complete development of the Algonquin Trail to the Bissett Creek Highway 17 overpass, have designed completed for the overpass, prepare grant applications when available for addressing the overpass as well as other structures requiring works, and install signage for use of rail ballast as is where is condition. Or option C was complete development of Algonquin Trail to the Bissett Creek Highway 17 overpass and keep remaining trail section closed until funding becomes available for further development. Further details on the Highway 17 Bissett Creek overpass. This overpass isn't considered good for use for a trail structure going forward. So once we reach Bissett Creek, a decision would have to be made on whether we rehab or replace that structure or move with a grade crossing over Highway 17. At this time, staff's evaluating options on what would be required for the grade crossing and comparing that with what we anticipate would be required for replacement of the structure. I'll pause there, Chair, to see if there's any questions about that item.
Thank you. Any questions around this? Okay. Yeah, I think it's important once we realize that the trail is part of some of our infrastructure, that it becomes part of the asset management plan. And I think if moving forward, if we can develop the trail as up to the Bissett Creek area, that timeline may give us enough time to see if there's some funding from other sources to help us deal with Bissett Creek and moving forward from there. So I think it kind of makes sense. Anything further on that? Warden Emo.
Yes, thank you. And I think to add to the chair's comments, the longer we've owned portions of the Algonquin Trail, we recognize that there has to be regular maintenance, so which means application of more stone dust. It means grading. There are drainage issues that show up from time to time, and we likely have beavers in some sections of it. So it's a valuable asset, and if we don't continually look after it, then there'll be a big bill. As soon as we're finished, then if we're not looking after, we'd have to start the other end and keep refreshing it. So it makes sense to keep it as an active part of our asset management plan.
Okay. Thanks. I might have kind of jumped in there, but continue. Where are we? Where are we? If I can get this thing working, okay. So anything further on that? Seeing none, all those in favor? That is carried. And now we will move our item number 4.
Oh, sorry, you're correct. Yes, Chair, sorry. Item number 4 is infrastructure expansion process. And the recommendation is that the Operations Committee recommends that County Council table discussion on development charges and continue to utilize Corporate Policy GA14, Infrastructure Expansion, and the Growth Reserve Resolution approved by County Council on May 16, 2024 to address growth-related infrastructure pressures.
Can I get a mover and seconder for the recommendation? Moved by the member from McNabb Braeside, seconded by the member, Ward Nemo. Yeah, background, please.
Thank you, Chair. Through you to committee. The development fee study has been completed by Watson and Associates. However, since its development, Council has also approved Corporate Policy GA14 infrastructure expansion, as well as a resolution that was adopted at the May 16, 2024 Special County Council meeting to create a growth reserve as follows. That County Council approved the creation of the growth reserve, and that contributions to the growth reserve equal to the weighted current value assessment CVA growth revenue for the 2025 year be included in the draft 2025 budget. Together, these two solutions aim to address the expansion of the county's transportation infrastructure. The development fee study shall remain on file should there be a desire to revisit the potential for development charges in the future. Staff have further developed a list of projects for the expansion of county infrastructure, which would require consideration of policy GA14 and the growth reserve resolution. The infrastructure expansion project shall be reviewed annually as part of the asset management planning process and be taken into consideration when corresponding assets are planned for works.
Thank you for that. Members here will recall that we didn't jump at the opportunity and the options given to us under development charges. So I think, you know, this is kind of a way to go and give us some flexibility. Comments or questions? Seeing none, all those in favor? And that is carried. We'll move on to bylaws.
Thank you, Chair. Item number 5 is bylaw to govern use of County of Renfrew recreational trails. The recommendation is that the Operations Committee recommends that County Council adopt a bylaw to govern the use of the County of Renfrew recreational trails, and that bylaw 8124 be hereby repealed.
Mover and seconder for the recommendation, please. Moved by the member from Armpire, seconded by the member from Laurentian Valley. Mr. Henrith.
Thank you, Chair. Through you to committee. Bylaw 8124, being a bylaw to regulate and govern the use of the lands identified as County of Renfrew recreational trails as linear parks, was adopted on May 29, 2024. Staff have been in consultation with the Ministry of the Attorney General with regards to having these fines implemented and have received some feedback with regards to additional wording that is required under Section 3 in order to implement the fee structure. A bold and strikeout version is attached with the changes.
Thank you for that. Comments or questions? Seeing none, all those in favor? And that is carried. Okay, now we will move on to the... oh, sorry. Is there a 6? Oh, yeah. I have a page break here. Item number 6, sorry.
Thank you, Chair. Through you to committee. Item number 6 is speed limit bylaw, County Road 512, Foymount Road. And the recommendation is that the Operations Committee recommends that County Council adopt a bylaw to authorize speed limits and that bylaw 8-24 be hereby repealed.
Mover and seconder for the recommendation. Moved by Ward Nemo, second by the member from McNabb Braeside. And, well, it's pretty straightforward, but background, please.
Thank you, Chair. Through you to committee. As committee may recall, this section of Foymount Road was reduced to a posted speed limit of 60 kilometers an hour whenever it was considered in poor condition. This section has now completed reconstruction, so the road is back to good condition and warrants an 80 kilometer an hour speed limit. Hence the, 60. We're upping to 80 kilometers per hour from 60.
Oh, I'm sorry.
So
Yeah, so
warrants an 80 kilometer posted speed limit, hence the bylaw to update our speed limits.
Yeah, so it was reduced, and now it's being, the 80 kilometers an hour is being reinstated, and makes even a little bit more sense that I think the road is in not only better condition, but the sight lines are a lot better than they were previously too. So, anything further on item 6? Seeing none, all those.
So my apologies. I read that 3 times and obviously didn't read the whole thing, or it didn't sink in. So I apologize.
No worries. We all have. All those in favor? And that is carried. Now we will move on to the Operations Division report. Mr. Perkins.
Yes, thank you, Chair. And again, I just reiterate that Mr. Bolduc's leaving is a huge hole in our department, so I'll be filling in for a little while, so I'd ask committee to bear with me. So under information item 1 is operational status and winter readiness. So staff are preparing for the upcoming winter season. The Public Works and Engineering Department is required to be 50% operational by November 1st and 100% operational by November 15th. Night patrols are scheduled and will continue until March 29th. The winter maintenance agreements, as committee may know, we work with our partner municipalities in other areas of the county that clear snow for us. So, for instance, Township of Carlo Mayo, they do services for us on Defoe Road or County Road 517. We're still in discussions with them. Mr. Stewart of Pat Stewart Trucking Limit, he looks after Swisher Road for us, County Road 635. I believe we've actually concluded discussions with him, so you'll see a contract coming through soon. Town of Arnprior, we're still discussing with, Town of Renfrew, and the Town of Deep River. So the following multi-year rental agreement for County of Renfrew winter operations equipment are complete and valid until 2026-27 winter season. Township of Bonashire Valley, we rent a bay from them up on Foymount Hill, actually. So we have we use salt and sand, and a truck is left there for use on 512. And the Algonquins of Pickwack, we also use a bay there at Golden Lake as well during the winter season. So both those rentals have been negotiated and agreed to. Delegated authority approvals. The following were delegated under bylaw 9824, delegated authority bylaw. So PWO 2024-17, concrete gutters and grates for the Whitewater Patrol went to 902474 Ontario Limited, Do All Construction, Pembroke, Ontario, for $40,000 plus applicable taxes. PWO 2024-25, concrete gutters for the Southwest Patrol, also went to Do All Construction for $59,280 plus applicable taxes. And PWO 2024-26, the concrete gutters and grates for Cobden Patrol, also went to Do All Construction for $52,299 plus applicable taxes. I'll leave it there, Chair, for questions and before we go to resolutions.
Thank you for that. We'll move back to information item number 1, the operational status and winter readiness. Item number 2, the winter maintenance agreements. And just for clarity's sake, the timelines that we operationalize under the county's staff also extend to these contracts. So 50% now and then 100% operational by November 15th. Item number 3, delegated authority for those 3 items. And we'll move on to resolutions.
Thank you, Chair. And again, through you to committee. Resolution item number 4 is the PWO 2024-30, which is a 3-ton tag-along float. So the recommendation here is that the Operations Committee approves contract PWO 2024-30 as submitted by JJ Trailers, Toronto, Ontario, for the supply and delivery of one 30-ton tag-along float in the amount of $79,653.40 plus applicable taxes.
Can I get a mover and seconder for the recommendation? Moved by member from Arnprior, seconded by Ward Nemo. Background, I guess.
Yes, thank you, Chair, and through you to committee again. So tenders for the supply and delivery of this float were requested. A number of them didn't meet the specifications that we required. JJ Trailers of Toronto did, so we're hoping to award them the contract to purchase this unit. Under financial implications, we only did budget $70,000 for this inside the operations budget, but because again there's a couple of pieces of equipment that we will not purchase this year. There's savings available to us to cover that off. So this tender was processed in according to the County of Renfrew's corporate policy, GA01, procurement of goods and services, specifically 18.7, which states that the awards emanates from a request for tender that are $100,000 or less in excess of the council approval estimate required approval from the appropriate standing committee. So this is why we brought it to you as opposed to being a delegated authority. Thank you.
Okay, thank you for that. Any comments or questions? Member from Arnprior.
Thank you, Chair. What piece of equipment are we going to be putting on this trailer?
I don't know the answer to that, Mr. Perkins.
Thank you, Chair, and through you to committee. Actually, we can move anything with this. If one of our trucks was broke down, for example, and it was mobile enough to get up on the trailer, but for the most part, it's used for moving our large excavator with a brushing head on it and also the ditching bucket. But that's what it's mainly for. But it is a heavy-duty trailer, so we can use it for basically all the equipment that the county owns can be moved on this piece of equipment.
Supplementary.
Thank you, Chair. I thought 2 years ago we bought a large trailer that was going to move all our equipment. Did we not?
I believe we did, Mr. Perkins.
Yeah, that's correct. This will be a second unit in our group. So we'll have one that's in the northeast quadrant and one that's in the southwest quadrant.
Okay, thanks for that. Learn something every day. Anything further? All those in favor? And that's carried. Move on to item number 5.
Thank you, Chair, and through you to committee. PWO, item 5 is PWO 2024-12, and this is the 4 propane steamers. So the recommendation is that the Operations Committee approves county contract PWO 2024-12 as submitted by Clark Kavanagh Inc. of Bancroft, Ontario for the supply and delivery of 4 propane steamers in the amount of $96,050 plus applicable taxes.
Okay, can I get a mover and seconder for the recommendation? Moved by member from Laurentian Valley, seconded by the member from McNabb Braeside. Background, please.
Yes, thank you, Chair. And again, through you to committee. The background here is we did put this out for public tender. Unfortunately, we only had one bidder. But again, it was acceptable bid to us. So currently in the 2024 budget, we only had $80,000 identified. But as I alluded to earlier, there was a couple of pieces of equipment, a side roller that we're not going to purchase this year. So there are savings in the overall budget to accommodate this. But again, this tender was processed in accordance to the County of Renfrew Corporate Policy GA01, procurement of goods and service, specifically section 18.7, which states that the awards emanating from an RFT that are $100,000 or less in excess of the council-approved estimate require approval from the standing committee. So again, this is why we brought it forward to you as opposed to delegated authority.
Hey, thank you for that. Comments or questions? Seeing none, all those in favor? That is carried. Move on to bylaws.
Thank you, Chair. And through you to committee for bylaw, item number 6 is PWO 2024-05. And this is 1 tandem truck and plow unit. Recommendation here is that the Operations Committee recommends that County Council approves contract PWO 2024-05 as submitted by Viking Cobs Limited, Mount Forest, Ontario, in the amount of $451,130,000 plus applicable taxes, and that County Council adopt a bylaw to execute the contract.
Can I get a mover and seconder for the recommendation? Moved by the member from McNabb Braeside, seconded by... Oh, sure. Seconded by the member from Madawaska Valley. My apologies, I wasn't looking up there for hands. Yeah. The background, please.
Yes, thank you, Chair. Good eye.
Yeah.
Background here is the submission were requested through our canoe procurement program for the supply and delivery of 1 tandem truck and plow unit, and 1 submission was received as follows. Viking Cobs Limited from Mount Forest, Ontario for $451,130,000. So the financial implications here again are we only budgeted $440,000 for this unit. But we are still recommending that the savings from the other equipment that we're not going to buy will make up for this in this year. So again, the procurement was processed in accordance to the County of Renfrew's purchase or procurement of goods and services. Thank you.
Okay, thank you for that. Comments or questions? So being over budget and over the 100,000 requires it. We recommend that to County Council. So all those in favor? And that is carried. Item number 7.
Thank you, Chair. Item 7 is the supply and delivery of winter salt. So the recommendation here is that the Operations Committee recommends that County Council approve the extension of contract PWO 2016-01 for the supply and delivery of bulk coarse highway salt for winter operations for 5 years from 2025 to 2030 from Windsor Salt Limited of Mississauga, Ontario, and that County Council adopt a bylaw to formalize and authorize execution of the amended agreement, and that bylaws 16 and 1020 be hereby repealed.
Thank you for that. Comments or questions? I think this is one that I think there are a few other municipalities that, Evelyn? Sorry.
Sorry, we haven't got a mover and a seconder yet for this
Oh,
one.
did we not do that? Can I get a mover and seconder? Moved by a member from Greater Madawaska, seconded by the member from Laurentian Valley. Or Madawaska Valley, sorry. What did I say? Greater Madawaska. Madawaska Valley. There. Okay, some background, I guess.
Yes, thank you, Chair. It's a bit lengthy background, but I'll try to summarize a little bit. So in 2016, we actually entered into a contract with Windsor Salt. The original contract covers 2016 to 2017, 2018, and then we extended it with them. The clause for that contract, TC18, successful tender, period of contract reads as follows. Contract covers the dates I just mentioned, 2016 to 2018, but we can continue to extend for a 3-year additional or 1-year period subject to satisfactory service and price and terms. So extensions are to be mutually agreed upon and continue requirement by the county and budget approval. Should a mutual agreement not be reached, then it's our prerogative, obviously, for new tenders. So again, staff here are very pleased that with the service that Windsor Salt provides to us. Obviously, we take delivery loads throughout the winter, and based on that, we're quite pleased with their performance. Also, based on discussions with the supplier, the County of Renfrew and supplier, we have negotiated to utilize the existing contract conditions. So it would go into effect for a 5-year period. We have a minimum call for 24,000 tons, and we have a guaranteed call for 115%. So if we do at the end of the season begin to run low, we still have a clause that they will deliver to us up until we hit that 115% upset limit. And as you can see, it's approximately a 3% increase per year. And then we just included some of the table below was for the purpose of the approach for why the winter salt extension and the percent increase. As you can see what they've done over the last number of years, the average is close to 3%. And also just on some basic research, we touched base with the City of Thunder Bay, Haldimand County and City of Mississauga, and this is the increases that they've seen now over the last number of years. So we felt that dealing with these, with Windsor Salt, a 3% increase per year over 5 years was applicable to our situation. So with that, Chair, I'll leave it for questions.
Perfect. Thank you for that. Comments or questions? Seeing none, all those in favor? And that is carried. And I believe there's a couple of lower tier municipalities are bundled in on that contract, or they were in the past. I'm not sure if they still do or not. But.
Yeah, that's correct, Chair. Sorry through you. That's correct. There are a number of municipalities, and we do offer the contract every year to other municipalities. What we've seen in the County of Renfrew, of course, is obviously the closer to Ottawa you are, you may actually get a better price than what we're getting. The big benefit for us here is obviously, as you know, County of Renfrew is so large, but the extra 15%. I'm not sure if committee will recall, but back in 2019 we had a salt shortage, but the County of Renfrew, of course, having this clause, and again, my thanks to Mr. Bolduc for this one, having this clause in the contract allowed us to get that extra 15%.
Perfect. Okay, then we'll move on to back to the agenda, item number 6, delegations. We don't have any, or no, that's not where I'm at. Yeah. Can I have a mover and seconder for the report as a whole? Moved by, no, he's not going to. Member from McNabb Braeside, seconded by the member from Arnprior. Any comments or questions? Warden Nemo.
Yes, Mr. Perkins mentioned canoe, so I'm just wondering if at some point we can get an overall report from this division and maybe other divisions who have used canoe, just to get a sense of whether there's been a savings of money and or time and just general satisfaction. So we'll know, whether we need to continue.
Sure, we've actually had that because what we're seeing is some of our purchases are going through canoe and some aren't. So. Yeah, I think Mr. Perkins would be open to that, or Taylor.
Yes, sir. Thank you, Chair. I'll get back to you on that.
Okay, member from Arnprior.
Thank you, Chair. I wonder if at the next meeting the treasurer Mr. Burke could provide us how much money we have left in the kitty that we haven't used for equipment?
Millions.
Millions?
No. I wish.
No, it's just
Yeah.
that on a couple of the purchases, we've gone into our reserve that we're not using on pieces of equipment, so I'm kind of curious what we have left. Thanks.
Okay, staff will take that under advisement. We don't have any closed meetings scheduled for today, and the date of our next meeting will be Tuesday, November 12th, 2024, and I would entertain a motion that, oh, sorry, where am I going?
Yeah,
Evelyn?
sorry, we did not vote on the report as a whole.
Yeah, I even wrote that down. Can I get a mover and seconder for the acceptance of the report as a whole? Oh, I just didn't, oh, sorry. Right. My apologies. All those in favor? And that is carried. No closed meeting scheduled. Date of our next meeting, November 12th. And I would entertain a motion to adjourn. Moved by the member from Greater Madawaska, seconded by the member from McNabb Braeside. Madawaska Valley. My apologies again. Anything further? All those in favor? That is carried. We are adjourned.